Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast where we bring you the latest news and updates from around the world. I'm your host, Barbara, and I'm excited to share today's top stories with you. We're starting off today with a significant development in the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. According to reports, Russia's defense ministry has claimed that its forces have captured a village in Ukraine's Sumy region, which is located near the border with Russia's Kursk region. The village, known as Basivka, is said to have been taken by Russian troops during an offensive operation. This news comes as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been facing pressure to negotiate a peace deal with Russia, amid concerns about the ongoing humanitarian crisis and the economic impact of the war on Ukraine. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has been involved in diplomatic efforts to broker a peace agreement between the two sides, although his comments about Zelensky being a dictator have sparked controversy. It's worth noting that the situation on the ground is complex and fluid, with both sides accusing each other of ceasefire violations and aggression. The capture of Basivka, if confirmed, would represent a rare cross-border advance by Russian forces, although Ukraine has reportedly been pushing back against attempts by small groups of Russian soldiers to enter its territory. We'll continue to monitor the situation and bring you updates as more information becomes available. In the meantime, we'll also be exploring other major news stories from around the world, including developments in international diplomacy, politics, and economics. So, stay tuned for a balanced and in-depth look at the day's top news. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara. We're glad you're joining us again for this segment of our show. Today we're focusing on a developing story that's been making headlines around the world. Iran has expressed its willingness to engage in indirect talks with the United States, but with certain conditions. According to reports from multiple sources, including the Japan Times and Reuters, Iran is seeking to continue negotiations through Oman, a longtime mediator between the two nations. This comes after the U.S. President Donald Trump's call for direct talks, which Iran has rejected due to ongoing threats and sanctions. A senior Iranian official, speaking on condition of anonymity, stated that indirect talks could provide an opportunity to assess Washington's commitment to finding a political solution. The official emphasized that any discussions must prioritize Iran's concerns and interests. It's worth noting that this development comes amidst heightened tensions between the U.S. and Iran, with the latter accelerating its uranium enrichment program. Western nations have expressed concerns over this move, citing the potential for nuclear weapon development, which Iran has consistently denied. In a related move, Iran has warned neighboring countries that host U.S. bases that they could be targeted in any conflict. This warning is not unprecedented, as we saw in 2020, when Iran targeted U.S. bases in Iraq following the assassination of Qasem Soleimani. As we continue to monitor this situation, it's essential to consider the complexities and nuances involved. The dynamics between the U.S., Iran, and other regional players are multifaceted, with various interests and agendas at play. We'll be keeping a close eye on these developments and providing updates as more information becomes available. For now, it's clear that the path forward will require careful diplomacy and a willingness to engage in constructive dialogue. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we wrap up today's show, I'd like to bring your attention to a developing story in the UK, where the Liberal Democrats are taking a strong stance against a potential trade deal with the U.S. under President Donald Trump. The party has announced that it will call for a vote in Parliament on any such deal, citing concerns over the impact on British farmers and online safety laws. According to reports, the UK government is planning to water down online safety laws and drop bans on imports of US beef, chicken, and pork, which could lead to products that don't meet UK food standards flooding into the country. The Lib Dems are also worried about the potential consequences of reducing levies on US social media giants by lowering the digital services tax. The party's leader, Ed Davey, has been vocal in his criticism of the government's handling of the situation and has called on Labour leader Keir Starmer to take a tougher stance against Trump. The Lib Dems' deputy leader, Daisy Cooper, has emphasized the importance of parliamentary scrutiny over any potential deal, saying that it would be deeply undemocratic if MPs were sidelined on this critical issue. Meanwhile, Nigel Farage's reform. UK is also making waves in the lead-up to the local elections next month, with over 1,600 candidates contesting seats across the country. The party has been gaining momentum since the general election last July, but has recently faced internal challenges, including the expulsion of one of its MPs. As we consider the complexities of this story, it's clear that the UK is at a crossroads in terms of its trade relationships and its values. The Lib Dems' stance on this issue reflects their commitment to protecting British interests and upholding high standards for food safety and online protection. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay engaged.